A century ago, a mysterious cosmic rift tore open in the skies above Earth, unleashing swarms of terrifying dimensional beasts that ravaged the entire planet and drove humanity to the edge of extinction. Only those blessed with awakened talents could stand against them. Among the rare survivors is an orphan boy named Yeti, living with his younger sister. Yeti possesses one of the weakest Tier 1 talents imaginable, leaving him constantly plagued by deep doubt about whether he can protect the only family he has left. He feels entirely helpless in this cruel, power-driven world. But everything completely changes the day he gets zapped by a strange, creepy energy floating throughout his nighttime dreams. Upon waking up from that nightmare, he finds an otherworldly system prompt floating before his eyes, rewriting his destiny with the power to copy abilities. Meanwhile, the dark background fades away as his pigtailed younger sister happily runs into the room to find her brother, proudly showing off a delicious plate of freshly cooked braised pork.
Grateful for the meal and the warmth of home, Yeti cannot help but smile brightly at her lovely presence. As he stares directly at her, a glowing holographic status window suddenly flashes open for the very first time. The mechanical text reveals that her hidden base frost talent is actually an extremely rare and powerful high-tier ability.
He silently hopes their deceased parents can finally rest easy knowing she possesses such immense potential. Yeti reaches his hand forward to gently pat his sister's head. The exact moment he touches her shoulder, the system notification immediately pops up again, displaying a clear option that allows him to instantly copy her powerful high-tier talent. However, he refuses to test this untested skill on his precious family, so they happily sit down together for a peaceful dinner. Later that evening, Yeti throws on a casual dark hoodie and steps out into the city. He officially walks onto the busy streets, activating his new talent sensor to observe the passing crowds closely. He discovers the maximum range of his tracking radar is limited to only 3 meters for now, which feels highly frustrating in a massive crowd. He walks past dozens of ordinary citizens, but his sensor only picks up unimpressive low-tier abilities. He realizes he must find an elite location to unlock much stronger martial skills. He decides to apply to the Linhai 5th Academy because they do not judge students based on early evaluations. As he approaches the massive campus, he looks around at the modern training buildings, realizing this academy is truly a wonderful place. Dozens of proud students with solid mid-tier abilities are walking through the main gates. Inside Martial Stadium No. 3, a strict instructor is giving a loud lecture on the difficult warrior path. The intense teacher is currently demonstrating the basic body training technique, instructing everyone to form a spinning air vortex. Most classmates struggle or collapse in exhaustion, but Yeti remains perfectly steady during the class. The furious instructor scoffs at the losers, telling them to follow the brilliant example of an elite student named Chun Dong. Later, Yeti turns to his friend Zhang Bao, who suddenly puffs out his chest with immense pride. The excited classmate proudly brags about scoring Chun Dong's official autograph, claiming the signature is worth months of rent. Suddenly, a wave of loud excitement breaks out across the corridor as countless surrounding students begin jumping with pure joy. Yeti turns his head toward the noisy crowd and sees the legendary Chun Dong walking directly toward their training room. The entire student body rushes forward frantically, dying to secure an autograph from this genius. Yeti checks his stats, confirming that Chun Dong possesses a very lucrative mid-tier cultivation ranking. He squeezes through the frantic crowd, waiting for the perfect moment to extend his right hand. Finally, his turn arrives and he firmly seals a solid handshake with the elite warrior, who casually wishes the freshman good luck today. The touch triggers the system immediately, confirming that the high-grade cultivation attribute has been successfully copied and is ready to fuse. Wanting complete privacy, Yeti runs away from the academy and hides inside a quiet mountain cave. Sitting alone in the dark space, he takes a deep breath and prepares to initiate the dangerous process. The moment he clicks the fusion option, a sharp, grinding pain shoots directly through his chest, making his brain feel completely melted. He collapses onto the hard stone floor, barely holding on to consciousness. Fortunately, the system window flashes brightly to announce the upgrade is complete, allowing him to stand up and test his body training. He sits in a cross-legged position, circulating his newly enhanced internal energy according to the textbook rules. Everything flows beautifully now that his physical body is rocking a proper mid-tier talent instead of trash. Right in front of his extended palms, a small, spinning tornado begins to form easily, proving his future potential is limitless. Under the dim light of the full moon, the peaceful atmosphere of the residential district is completely shattered. High above the sleeping city, a massive vicious wolf with glowing red eyes suddenly appears on the rooftops. The wild dimensional beast leaps silently from building to building, searching for its next human prey. At the exact same time, an ordinary father and his young daughter are walking home while making happy dinner plans. In the blink of an eye, the giant beast pounces downward from the dark sky. The little girl screams, leaving Yeti completely frozen. Sudden panic violently erupts across the entire neighborhood as everyone instantly realizes a dangerous dimensional beast is roaming in their midst. Terrified citizens scream frantically for their lives, their desperate voices shaking after witnessing the creature brutally murder a man. This is Yeti's very first time seeing a bloodthirsty monster up close. The fearsome silver moon sable narrows its glowing eyes, ready to pounce directly on the weeping child. Just as the creature closes in to strike, Yeti musters his immense courage to dash forward and tightly pull her out of harm's way. He holds the small girl close to his chest while trying to escape. Realizing the monster is too fast gives them barely any precious time to run away from this alleyway. Right then, a heroic warrior bursts onto the chaotic scene, forcefully slamming into the charging sable from behind. Standing tall is the famous Captain Gale, who orders Yeti to keep the innocent little girl safe immediately. Captain Gale steps forward, preparing to put on a spectacular show while clashing violently against the ferocious beast. Yeti quickly covers the small girl's eyes to shield her from the incoming blood. Just as the beast tries to bite back, 3 elite team members suddenly drop out of the sky to launch a massive combined attack. The heavy blades strike deep into the silver fur, causing the squad to assume the monster is defeated for good. Suddenly, the creature lets out a bone-chilling scream as a dark crimson aura oozes from its body. The wounded beast enters its deadly bloodburst mode, its raw physical power escalating into a terrifying final mutation. The captain warns his squad to stay sharp because this sudden tactical transformation makes the situation much worse. The cunning sable tries to make a desperate break for safety, slipping swiftly into the dark shadows. Gale follows its movement closely, refusing to let this dangerous prey walk out of this chaotic battleground alive today. A sudden surge of purple mana floods the night air, and a mysterious girl appears right on time. Standing on the high rooftops, the skilled archer draws her bow completely back, firmly aiming her weapon at the running target. She looses her arrow, which whistles loudly through the breeze to pierce the silver sable's neck. The giant monster collapses onto the hard ground, seemingly dead on the spot as the captain laughs out loud. While the squad celebrates their easy victory bubble, Yeti quietly approaches the fallen creature. To his absolute surprise, a blue system interface suddenly pops up, allowing him to view the beast's low-tier speed attributes. The lackeys are cooling off and making fun drink plans, completely unaware that the monster's front paw is subtly twitching. Gale's sharp instincts kick in immediately, prompting him to shout that the enemy is still alive. The furious sable rises back onto its feet, howling with pure hatred while refusing to die easily. The captain commands his team to stand down, stepping forward to finish this stubborn puppy by himself. He shouts at Yeti to clear out of the dangerous zone, but the Talent Reaper ignores his warning completely. Seeing the perfect opportunity, Yeti marches straight toward the beast and slams his fist directly into the sable. The moment his knuckles impact the thick silver fur, a series of bright, golden, holographic windows flash repeatedly. The notification text keeps rolling across his vision, announcing that the novice tier speed talent has been successfully acquired. Yeti leaps back and forth, punching the body continuously while extracting the valuable monster essence into himself. He continues throwing heavy punches into the corpse, thoroughly enjoying this strange rush of raw slaughter. Finally, the captain steps forward and forcefully snaps him out of his trance, reminding the frantic boy that the monster is already long dead. Yeti slowly stops his movements, confirming that his talent copying process is completely finished. The captain begins assigning cleanup duties to his subordinates, ordering them to remove both the bodies properly. before leaving the quiet area, Gale looks at Yeti with an impressed smile, offering a polite invitation to join his combat squad once the boy manages to officially reach the prestigious rank of a martial warrior. The exciting thought of becoming stronger fills Yeti's heart with great joy as he quickly runs away. He finally arrives back at his quiet apartment later that night. He steps out of the bathroom and walks through the dark house. Finding his sister Yayu fast asleep, she snores softly like a baby while mumbling her brother's name in her dreams. Yeti smiles gently at the sweet sight, walking over to her bed to carefully tuck her warm blanket in securely. He steps outside into the calm night breeze, letting the massive weight of the day settle down. Yeti quietly sits on the floor, staring directly at the floating system window that contains the dangerous sable traits. Knowing the upcoming monster talent fusion will cause supreme physical pain, he shoves a thick cloth into his mouth. As soon as Yeti initiates the dangerous fusion process inside the dark room, a wave of pure agony hits his fragile body like a relentless storm. Each burning surge feels as if his muscles and bones are being violently torn apart piece by piece. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoes clearly as his right leg fractures instantly. He questioningly wonders if the talent copying protocol failed entirely, feeling his consciousness slip away into absolute darkness. The next morning, Yeti wakes up with a sudden jolt, his heart pounding erratically as he escapes the terrible nightmare. He quickly checks his leg, finding no fractures or bruises remaining on his healthy skin. The blue status window hovering before his eyes happily confirms that his novice deer speed talent successfully fused with his body. Feeling incredibly energized, Yeti rushes out of his quiet house. He joyfully runs toward a nearby grove behind the academy to properly test his newfound swiftness, effortlessly bounding through the trees like a wild beast. As the young martial apprentice concentrates deeply on his inner energy, his physical movements become increasingly fluid and precise. He can feel the power swirling inside his veins, proving his hard work is finally paying off. He remains entirely alone in the quiet forest, focusing all his attention on mastering these incredible new physical attributes. Right then, his loud friend Jangbao suddenly spots him from afar and walks over to the grove. The chubby classmate happily pats Yeti on the shoulder, immediately noticing how sturdy his body feels. He suggests that Yeti try drinking raw monster blood to gain power, shocking Yeti with the immense benefits this special liquid holds. Seeing his friend's intense curiosity, Jang proudly grins and reveals some highly restricted intelligence about their upcoming academy activities. He explains that the base higher-ups have officially opened up a brand new wild zone outside the city perimeter. The primary reward for passing this special joint examination happens to be a high-grade bottle of monster blood. Jang explains that the danger level of this designated wild zone is relatively low because most deadly creatures were already cleared out. He urgently begs Yeti to join his combat squad for the joint exam, but Yeti's face goes completely blank. Yeti politely declines the generous offer, choosing to keep his secret abilities perfectly hidden. Yeti marches directly into the main administration building of the 5th Academy. At exactly this moment, he is already standing inside the office, calmly talking with the head professor about his registration. The strict instructor demands to know who leaked the intel since Yeti signed up without receiving any official competition invitation. Yeti confidently explains that his current strength as a martial apprentice makes him fully qualified to enter the joint examination anyway. The frustrated instructor scoffs loudly, reaching across the wooden desk to grab a dangerous life responsibility contract. He tells Yeti that the wilderness outside the city boundary is filled with unpredictable and fatal threats. The angry professor challenges him to get out immediately if he is too afraid to die during the trial. Right now, Yeti has successfully signed the dangerous responsibility agreement, stepping out of the office with a slight smirk. The older teacher mutters that this reckless kid will definitely regret his choices in the near future. The next morning, back at the peaceful apartment, young Yayu wakes up and softly calls out for her older brother. The wonderful aroma of delicious fresh food pulls her toward the breakfast table, where a full meal is already prepared. She finds a short note from Yeti stating he will return home safely in 3 days. Reading the paper, Yayu silently prays for her brother's safety during his long school event. Meanwhile, Yeti finally arrives at the designated gathering destination outside the city. The massive staging area is buzzing with immense excitement, as hundreds of proud elite students from all 5 major martial academies assemble together before the gates. The competitive atmosphere becomes incredibly tense as the top-ranking students begin glancing at each other with deep hostility. Suddenly, an arrogant young master named Mo Zhao arrives, flanked by a powerful group of elite bodyguards. He throws a disdainful glare at the other groups, loudly calling the 5th Academy students absolute garbage from a trash school. Zhang Bao points toward the arrogant bully, explaining to Yeti that Mo Zhao is recognized as one of the strongest fighters within the influential Mo family. Yeti looks at the boasting young master, easily figuring out that this political heir is just another ego-driven guy who relies entirely on his wealthy background to look down on others. Suddenly, a fierce warrior with a sheathed sword walks straight into the 1st Academy's camp. His angry eyes locked onto the bully, the challenging genius loudly demands that Mo Zhao face him to be chopped into pieces. The gossip king Zhang Bao points out that the legendary genius from the 2nd Academy, Li Yunqing, was actually beaten by Mo Zhao Bei, but our boy Tian doesn't give a single damn about fancy titles. He gets super excited and loudly cheers for the guy, leaving the arrogant elite sword master looking completely confused and incredibly awkward on stage. The academy professors snap at everyone to stop playing around because the terrifying Wild Zone exam is officially starting. Just as a loud warning broadcast blares out threatening to immediately disqualify anyone caught fighting outside, the highly annoyed rival class genius Li Yunqing has no choice but to walk away while muttering some pretty angry, empty threats. Curious about the crazy kid cheering for him, the elite swordsman walks up to Qian to ask for his name. Qian uses this golden opportunity to inspect the guy's system. He spots a pretty decent mid-tier sword talent, smiles like a total devil, and immediately extends his friendly hand for a classic, incredibly sneaky, under-the-table handshake. The clueless genius happily shakes his hand, completely unaware that Tian's system just successfully copied his legendary mid-tier sword talent. Right after this sneaky victory, the massive iron gates of the Wild Zone finally open wide, and all the elite students from the 1st Academy enthusiastically rush forward into the deadly, monster-filled jungle ruins. While the other academies enter in a slow, boring military order, Tian isn't planning to waste a single second of his exam. He immediately sprints like a complete madman away from his own team, finding a perfectly quiet, deeply hidden spot in the dark ruins to safely process and fuse his newly stolen high-level cheat codes. Tian takes a deep breath, opens his glowing blue system interface, and aggressively hits the yes button to initiate the fusion. Instantly, a violent surge of raw cosmic energy ruptures through his veins. Even though he's done this a few times before, the absolute agonizing pain of genetic restructuring still makes him sweat and scream out loud. As tense electric shockwaves finally settle, Tian stands up, feeling the incredible power flowing through his sword hand. He takes a massive swing at a thick old tree, instantly slicing it in half like warm butter. Smiling like a proud supervillain, his newly updated system status window pops up, showing off his newly upgraded combat stats. It is finally time for the 5th Academy to enter the Wild Zone. Tian steps forward with pure confidence as everyone scatters, while walking alone down a dark, broken path. He suddenly senses a cold presence behind him and spins around to find a giant, scaly green snake lunging at his face. Tian doesn't even blink. He leaps high into the air, moving like an absolute blur, and cleanly slices the giant monster's head off in one effortless strike. The lifeless beast crashes heavily onto the concrete below, completely outmatched by our god-tier main character who is just getting started here. He casually harvests its glowing eyeball to claim his very first point, aiming for that juicy top-tier cash prize. As he starts jumping across the ruined buildings, he suddenly hears a desperate scream echoing from below. Tian stops on a high rooftop, looking down to spot his useless trembling fat friend, Zhang Bao, completely frozen in pure terror. The poor guy is crying, completely surrounded by a bloodthirsty horde of terrifying flanged wolves. Just as a massive wolf lunges forward to rip him apart, Tien reacts with lightning-fast speed, pulls out a powerful combat bow, and fires a perfect arrow that pinpoints the beast's skull, dropping it instantly before it can even touch him. Zhang looks up in absolute shock as Tien coolly drops down from the heavens like a classic superhero. The terrified kid desperately screams at him to run away, genuinely believing these deadly wolves are way too strong for Tien to handle alone. Our boy just chuckles, knowing he is about to put on a legendary sword show. With a smug smirk, Tien unleashes the deadly combination of his newly fused speed and sword talents. He moves through the pack like a golden grim reaper, slicing every single wolf in half before they can even blink. He stands calmly among the bloody carcasses, leaving his traumatized friend staring at him in absolute, speechless disbelief. Tien easily collects the valuable wolf fangs, while his exhausted friend Zhang Bao looks on in total disbelief. Zhang is completely done with this dangerous exam and just wants to escape safely with his injured teammates. But before leaving, he pulls Tien close to share a massive, juicy rumor about a rare, legendary monster. Zhang Bao points toward the distance and whispers about a massive pseudo-beast lurking nearby. He explains that a powerhouse group from the Elite First Academy is currently hunting a giant spotted snake over 10 meters long. This terrifying creature is way stronger and much rarer than any of the normal garbage monsters they've faced so far. Taking down this legendary snake is worth a whopping 500 points, which is easily the highest single score available in this entire exam. The second Tien hears this insane number, he pressures his fat friend to give up the location. Reluctantly, Zhang points toward the southeast, and our greedy protagonist instantly prepares to make his move. Without wasting a single second, Tien flares his aura and sprints like a madman toward the southeast. He knows that securing those 500 points will guarantee him the undisputed first-place trophy. As he zips through the ruins like a golden bullet, he can already smell the sweet, delicious scent of easy points waiting for him. Reaching the area, Tien is greeted by a gruesome sight as wounded First Academy students lie scattered across the bloody ground. A massive explosion erupts nearby, shaking the earth. Tien swiftly leaps into the air, flying toward the rooftop of a towering building to get a clear, bird's-eye view of the absolute chaos unfolding down below. From his high vantage point, Tien watches the Elite Academy team desperately battling the rampaging pseudo-beast. The massive creature is completely out of control, leaving destruction in its wake. Mo Xiaobei is screaming crazy orders at his trembling squad, desperately pushing them to weaken the giant snake so he can steal the final glory. The beast begins to tire under the constant barrage of magical attacks. Sensing the perfect opportunity, Mo Xiaobei lets out a wicked, arrogant smirk. He kicks off the concrete, launching himself forward like a flashy superhero. He unsheathes his expensive sword, aiming to deliver the ultimate finishing blow to claim the 500 points himself. With a dramatic scream, Mo Xiaobei stabs his blade directly into the monster's head. Thick, disgusting purple blood instantly splatters everywhere, soaking the ruined battlefield. The arrogant master smiles, thinking he has officially secured his victory. But the furious monster still has plenty of fight left in its giant, scaly body. Before Mo Xiaobei can even celebrate, the giant snake whips its massive tail, striking him with brutal force. He gets launched through the air like a ragdoll, crashing heavily into a nearby concrete wall and leaving a massive dent. The surrounding students scream in pure horror as their legendary leader gets physically humbled in seconds. Mo Xiaobei staggers out of the rubble, arrogantly celebrating his 500 points. But suddenly, the collapsed monster opens its bloodshot eyes and unleashes a deafening roar. Its skin turns a violent shade of red as it undergoes a terrifying bloodline eruption, making the beast twice as strong and completely resetting the fight for everyone. Mo Xiaobei watches in absolute frustration as the newly evolved monster suddenly takes flight. It quickly escapes into the sky, leaving the elite team with absolutely nothing but broken bones and bruised egos. Our main character Tien watches from the rooftop, laughing quietly at how beautifully the rich genius managed to completely mess this up. The desperate students immediately scramble to chase the wounded flying beast. Meanwhile, Tien's eyes light up with pure, unadulterated joy. Since the creature has evolved into a full-fledged monster, its bounty has doubled to an insane 1,000 points. Tien smiles like a true capitalist, knowing this is the ultimate jackpot he was waiting for. Tien activates his newly copied speed talent, unleashing a blinding surge of golden energy around his body. He launches himself off the rooftop, moving 10 times faster than Mo Zhao Bei's pathetic squad. He flies through the air like a shooting star, rapidly closing the distance to track down his giant, bleeding 1,000-point prize. Tien lands smoothly on the ground, spotting a fresh trail of thick, glowing purple blood leading into a crumbling building. He crouches down to touch the warm slime, confirming the beast is trapped inside. Sensing a massive wave of murderous intent from the dark ruins, a greedy, villainous grin spreads across his face. As Tien quietly slips into the dark, ruined building, he is immediately greeted by the incredibly foul, pungent stench of decay. He slowly peers through the shadows, and boom, there is the massive, hideous beast. It is greedily drinking a glowing, strange liquid dripping from a beautiful glowing stone pillar hanging high on the ceiling. Tien smiles like a true capitalist, completely ignoring the mysterious liquid for now because those juicy 1,000 points are practically calling his name. With burning determination in his eyes, he slowly pulls his sharp sword from its sheath, preparing to sneak attack this giant scaly monster before the elite academy squad can even catch up. But this mutated snake is no brainless worm. Sensing danger, it suddenly leaps high into the air with terrifying speed, completely catching our boy off guard. The monster slams its giant hand into the concrete, sending a massive shockwave that violently blows Tien backward. He crashes hard into the debris, realizing this hunt won't be easy. Tien quickly recovers, instantly grabbing his tactical bow. In a literal blink of an eye, he draws 3 glowing arrows and lets them fly with deadly precision. 2 of them pierce the beast's eyes, causing dark purple blood to spurt everywhere as the giant snake howls in absolute agony, temporarily blinding it for the next strike. Using his telekinetic control, Tien's sword flies right back into his hand, humming with raw power. He charges forward like a complete madman, leaping onto the thrashing beast. With a wild, desperate roar, he drives his blade deep into the monster's neck, unleashing a powerful energy surge that tears through its mutated, scaly flesh. With a final, devastating slash, the massive 1,000-point creature finally collapses lifelessly onto the dirty floor. Tien jumps off the body, exhaling a huge sigh of relief. He smiles wickedly, knowing he couldn't have pulled this off if Mo's team hadn't weakened it. Suddenly, his eyes lock back onto that strange, dripping stone pillar above. Tien wastes absolutely no time. He slices open the snake's head to retrieve the glowing core crystal, then carefully drains its highly valuable heart blood into a portable flask. He knows these rare beast materials are worth a literal fortune on the black market, and he is not leaving a single drop of profit behind. Looking up at the ceiling, Tien decides he is not leaving any scraps for the arrogant rich kids. With a swift, clean strike, he completely cuts down the glowing stone pillar, stuffing the entire rock into his bag. Now, Mo Zhao Bei and his brainless followers will find absolutely nothing but a cold, worthless corpse. Sometime later, Mo's elite squad finally arrives at the scene, only to freeze in absolute, hysterical panic. The 1,000-point trophy has been completely looted. Up on a high beam, completely hidden in the shadows. Tien quietly watches their hilarious mental breakdown while the heavy rain steadily pours down on the ruined city streets. Mo Zhao Bei's fists tremble with pure, unadulterated rage as he screams, swearing to hunt down and brutally destroy whoever stole his prize. His bodyguard immediately orders a full-scale search of the area. Hearing this, Tien merely smirks, activates his newly copied god-tier speed talent, and instantly vanishes into the rainy night like a ghost. Tien lands smoothly in a quiet, highly secure abandoned building far away from the angry mob. Finally safe from the search party, he drops his heavy bag and eager looks inside. It is time to examine his legendary loot, especially that dense, raw monster blood that is practically radiating massive amounts of pure evolutionary energy. Without a single second thought, Tien pops the flask open and gulps down the disgusting, metallic monster blood. The taste is absolutely vile, almost making him vomit, but our boy is willing to pay any price to gain power. He needs to become strong enough to protect his beloved sister, no matter what it takes. Tien gulps down the disgusting beast blood, feeling a massive surge of raw energy safely upgrade his core. Suddenly, the 3-day exam officially ends. Everyone gathers at the crowded registration desk, and the confident genius Lai Yunqing proudly tosses his heavy bag down, waiting for the examiner to count his points. Lai's score comes out as a solid 195, earning praise from the crowd. But right at the 33-second mark, Mo Xiaobei struts into the arena with an incredibly arrogant, mocking grin. He openly sneers at their garbage scores, fully confident his own hall secured first place. Mo proudly dumps his massive pile of shiny crystals, and the screen flashes an unbelievable 427 points. Lai instantly screams and accuses his wealthy rival of cheating. Right at the 50-second mark, the two angry geniuses start cursing each other out, creating pure unfiltered chaos in the arena. Loud yelling fills the room, but the chief examiner quickly steps in to restore order. At the 67-second mark, the old teacher sighs heavily and announces that anyone who has not returned by now is surely dead, meaning Mo Xiaobei is officially the winner of this entire exam. Mo smiles like a proud king, ready to take his prize. But right at the 75-second mark, heavy, slow footsteps echo from the dark entrance. A mysterious, dusty shadow slowly walks out of the ruins, sending a sudden wave of absolute shock and disbelief through the entire silent crowd. The heavy silence in the arena is instantly shattered as Tien casually steps forward out of the shadows. His loyal fat friend Zhang Bao screams with pure excitement, flexing hard in front of the elite school, loudly bragging to everyone that his underdog buddy just pulled off an absolute miracle during this examination. Tien smiles carelessly and drops his massive bag onto the registration desk for the count. Mo Xiaobei's eyes go completely wide with furious realization, instantly figuring out that this nobody from the Trash Fifth Academy was the exact thief who stole his glorious 1,000-point monster prey in the ruins. The chief examiner carefully counts the horrific trophies, and the glowing leaderboard screen flashes an unbelievable 1,163 points. The official announcement declares Tien the undisputed top scorer, completely shattering the school record and leaving the entire crowd staring in absolute, speechless shock at his score. Mo Xiaobei is publicly humiliated, his fists trembling with rage. The top 3 participants stand together on the podium to receive their rewards and get their official photos taken, marking the end of the practical exam, while the wealthy rich kid constantly spits out bitter, backhanded compliments to Tien. Mo Xiaobei snarls viciously about his superior family background, but Tien does not give a single damn about his threats. Tien looks him dead in the eye and calmly tells the arrogant rich brat that he is ready to fight whenever he wants, promising to brutally settle who truly deserves the title of the strongest. Fast forward 3 days later, and the intense combat drama finally shifts back to absolute safety. Tien safely returns to his apartment, swiping his electronic keycard to enter the front door. His cute sister Yayu immediately rushes over to give him a massive hug, checking if her older brother is hurt after facing monsters. Tien chuckles softly, assuring her that he is completely fine after surviving the dangerous monster exam. He completely shocks his sister by pulling out an incredibly massive stack of hard prize cash and rare monster blood bottles, proudly presenting these legendary rewards as the ultimate gift for her future education and expensive school living expenses. The two happy siblings sit down together to celebrate, and Tien eagerly opens a mysterious illustrated book of treasures to read. His eyes quickly lock onto a page showing the exact glowing stone pillar he hacked off the ceiling. Discovering it is a priceless elixir that boosts a person's natural cultivation talent significantly. Tien realizes the monster used this treasure to evolve, and now it completely belongs to him. He calmly uncorks the flask containing the rare Terracore elixir and tells Yayu to drink it immediately, stating it is finally her turn to become a powerful and respected martial warrior in this very dangerous world. Yayu looks completely shocked, staring at the strange, glowing liquid in his hand with major doubt. She loudly argues that her unawakened trash talent would only waste such a valuable, incredibly expensive prize, strongly suggesting they sell it instead. Tien just rolls his eyes at her dumb suggestion, fully intending to force the upgrade. He brings up her system status window, carefully checking the current numbers out of pure curiosity. The interface screen clearly confirms that her base cultivation talent is currently stuck at a depressing low-tier level. Tien knows the book said low-level abilities would see a massive improvement, ignoring her constant, annoyed protests. Before his younger sister can even open her mouth to argue further, Tien moves forward with lightning speed. He holds her down, forcefully pops the flask open, and pours the entire liquid straight down her throat. Yahello coughs dramatically as a strange, warm energy instantly spreads throughout her entire body. The magical essence flows deeply through her veins, and a brilliant white aura suddenly begins to manifest around Yahello's body. However, Tien carefully opens her system status window again, only to find that her cultivation level is still showing a disappointing, completely unchanged low-tier rank on the interface screen right now. Feeling exhausted from the genetic restructuring, Yahello quickly falls fast asleep on the cozy sofa. A massive wave of pure elemental energy suddenly explodes from her sleeping body. Tien checks her system window again, shocked to see her cultivation talent has successfully jumped to full tiers straight to a powerful mid-tier rank. With his sister now holding a rare frost talent, Tien feels highly motivated to upgrade himself. He sits at his desk, popping open his own flasks of mid-rank monster blood and chugging the vial. Metallic liquid while eating peanuts, successfully boosting his own cultivation speed by an insane 8 times normal. Tien calculates that with enough high-quality heart blood, he can easily break through to the advanced apprentice realm within a month. Even though he only has 2 precious bottles left, his current speed and fused sword talents give him total confidence that he can easily challenge a real martial warrior without any fear. 10 days quickly pass by in a flash for the students. The camera shifts to a peaceful, quiet forest behind the 5th Academy. His fat friend Chang Bao comes rushing through the thick trees in a massive panic, screaming at Tien about some terrifying new emergency news regarding their wealthy rival from the 1st Academy. Chang Bao gasps heavily for air, trembling as he reveals that the humiliated rich boy, Mo Xiaobei, has officially gone into extreme seclusion to force a breakthrough. He expects Tien to be terrified, but our main character doesn't even flinch. Feeling completely disappointed that his rival hasn't challenged him yet, Zhang gets incredibly dramatic, promising to collect Tien's cold corpse and take care of his sister because a regular guy can't beat a rich family. Tien completely ignores the nonsense, focusing on his remaining blood supplies. The scene abruptly cuts away to the massive, heavily guarded and expensive Mo family estate. The tense atmosphere around the grand castle reaches a boiling point. The heavy steel gates violently explode outward as a powerful shadow walks out. Mo Xiaobei has successfully advanced into the martial warrior realm, unleashing a commanding energy that signals major trouble for our brave protagonist in the future. Inside the family hall, young Mo Xiao sits comfortably while servants attend to him. His powerful father steps into the room, beaming with absolute pride. The proud father eagerly praises his ambitious son for breaking through his secluded training and becoming an elite warrior capable of leading their grand family toward future glory. Mo Xiao bows deeply, promising never to bring dishonor to their high noble name. His pleased father urges him to celebrate by feasting on his favorite royal meals. After completing his speech, the elder warrior turns around and leaves the hall to let his son rest after months of brutal effort inside seclusion. The moment his father disappears down the marble corridor, Mo Xiao's friendly smile turns icy cold. He summons his personal bodyguard, demanding an update regarding the target he ordered to be investigated earlier. The guard confirms that the Qion is a nobody without backing, making him an easy target to crush whenever Xiao wants. Mo Xiao relaxes on his dark velvet throne inside the hall, enjoying the terrifying power he holds over commoners. He orders his guard to hire a lethal shadow assassin, believing the commoner's talent threatens elite dominance. He explains that rich ruling families must ruthlessly eliminate rising talents before they ever become real threats. The bodyguard hesitates, warning that murder within the base could cause trouble, but Xiao demands total discretion. Meanwhile, deep inside the forest of the 5th Academy, the Tion finishes his daily training. Strong golden aura radiates from his body as he prepares to head back to his cozy apartment before sunset today. Sensing the heavy rain incoming, the exhausted youth decides to wrap up his session and head home. As he walks along the rain-soaked city street, he suddenly senses an extremely dangerous presence lurking in the gloomy air nearby. He quickly scans his surroundings, searching for the source of this sudden spike of energy. His eyes widen as he spots a status window floating above a high streetlight, revealing an assassin named Lai Kun. Before Tion can process the crazy situation, Lai Kun leaps down from a rooftop, swinging a sharp blade at his head. Tion dodges the strike, demanding to know who sent him here tonight. Lai Kun grins savagely with a red dagger clenched firmly between his teeth, glaring at his target like a hungry predator. Tion quickly analyzes the situation, suspecting Mo Zhao arranged this sneaky hitman. He raises his heavy sword, blocking another strike just in time before the killer vanishes right before his eyes. Tion realizes this assassin possesses a rare shadow talent that grants complete physical invisibility. After a brief heated conversation exchange, Lai Kun launches his first wave of aggressive strikes from the shadows. Reappearing directly behind his target, the killer aims straight for Tion's head, but Tion uses speed to dodge. Frustrated that a simple high schooler dodged his lethal ambush, the assassin quickly activates his shadow talent and disappears into the darkness. Tion flips the script, deciding to stop playing defense. He lunges forward to strike back, but the slippery assassin vanishes into thin air once more, making tracking practically impossible. The tricky assassin sneaks around silently, activating his stealth ability for a third sneaky maneuver. Tion stands completely still in the narrow alleyway, ignoring visual distractions and focusing entirely on sensing ambient energy shifts. He waits patiently for the subtle vibration, completely unbothered by the invisible threat lurking inside the rainy shadows. The exact instant Lai Kun shifts his weight to attack, Tion brutally swings his heavy blade, slamming the invisible killer across the chest. The terrifying strike sends the assassin flying through the air, coughing up blood before crashing violently onto the pavement. The stunned killer screams in pure disbelief, unable to comprehend this. Desperate and bleeding heavily, Lai Kun reaches for his fallen dagger and launches one final suicidal attack forward. Tion casually leaps into the air to dodge the sloppy strike. The second his boots hit the ground, he lunges forward with explosive momentum, piercing his sharp sword straight through the shocked assassin's chest. Standing over his dying opponent, Tion coldly demands to know who paid for this targeted hit. With his final ragged breath, the assassin chuckles painfully, confessing that rich master Mo Zhao was the one who hired him. Tion crouches beside the bloody corpse, extending his hand toward the dark energy leaking from the chest. A powerful rush of dark magic surges through Tion's veins as he successfully copies the shadow talent for himself. A brilliant holographic status window pops up, confirming the addition of novice stealth ability alongside his cultivation and blade talents. He smiles wickedly, realizing Mo Zhao's attempt just handed him an incredible superpower. As heavy rain continues pouring from dark skies, Tion carefully gathers nearby heavy rocks and buries the dead assassin beneath them. He stares at the fresh stone grave, silently promising himself that he will never live like a helpless falling leaf, but rather as an unstoppable storm that crushes every single enemy standing in his way tonight. Tion turns around and quietly leaves the gloomy forest, heading straight back toward his warm apartment in the city center. After taking a long hot shower to wash away the sticky mud and fresh blood, he collapses comfortably onto his soft lounge sofa, releasing a massive sigh of total relief after surviving that brutal lethal assassination battle. He spreads all of the dead assassin's valuable belongings across the table, admiring the high-grade primordial twin, daggers and millions in stolen cash cards. Grinning at the ironic fortune, he grabs a rare skill book titled Shadow Blade. Realizing this bronze rank martial technique will perfectly boost his newly copied shadow abilities to total perfection. Excited to unlock his full potential, Tion rushes into his dark bedroom, slamming the door shut to start studying the secret manual immediately. He sits comfortably on his soft bed, eagerly opening the first chapter of the technique book, completely ready to absorb its ancient combat knowledge and master the lethal blade skills before the morning sunrise. A sudden wave of intense panic strikes his mind as he realizes his younger sister Yayu has not returned home yet tonight. fearing Mo Zhao might target his family next. Tian leaps straight out the open balcony window, sprinting rapidly across rain-slicked city rooftops while desperately praying for her safety as his heavy heart pounds with pure terror. He lands inside a downtown middle school yard, frantically searching through empty hallways for any sign of his missing sister. Suddenly, an unknown figure sneaks up behind his back, pressing a sharp object right against his spine and softly warning him not to move an inch, forcing Tian to freeze instantly in absolute shock on the spot. Tian spins around instantly to counterattack, only to stop cold when he sees his smiling sister Yahello holding a wet black umbrella. She casually explains that she stayed behind after class for normal cleanup duty, completely unaware that her barefoot, soaked brother just sprinted across 5 entire city blocks in sheer panic to save her life. As they walk together along the sidewalk, a sleek black car idles nearby, containing a furious Mo Zhao who grits his teeth in sheer rage at the sight of an unharmed Tian. The siblings stop by a local street vendor, enjoying tasty grilled sausages together while chatting cheerfully about making delicious boiled meat slices for tonight's big dinner. Tian notices the suspicious luxury vehicle trailing closely behind them, keeping his cool so Yahello stays completely unaware of the constant danger. They arrive home safely, but the persistent vehicle remains parked right outside their apartment complex. Over the next 3 clear days, Tian remains extremely vigilant while carefully monitoring his sister's daily middle school commute. The scene shifts back to Yu's peaceful school, where she attends normal morning classes with her classmates inside the bright building. Perched high on a neighboring rooftop, Tian silently watches over the entire entrance like a protective guardian angel, determined to obliterate anyone who dares to threaten his beloved younger sister again in the near future. When the suspicious black car finally drives away from the school gates, Tian immediately decides to follow it across town to find real answers. Summoning raw magic around his body, he leaps effortlessly between towering concrete skyscrapers, tracking the black vehicle as it navigates through dense traffic and heads straight toward an abandoned industrial construction site. Tian arrives at the abandoned factory, crouching atop a massive construction crane to maintain a clear overhead view, utilizing his newly acquired shadow talent to blend into the darkness. He watches in disgust as Mo Zhao sits casually while his ruthless enforcers brutally beat a helpless, bloody debtor who desperately begs for extra time to pay. The terrifying scene inside the building gets worse as the helpless victim kneels on the filthy ground, weeping desperately for mercy. He pleads that he truly has no money left today, explaining that he must take care of his elderly parents and young children. But Mo Zhao merely cold smiles and demands double the original debt amount immediately. Losing his temper over failed plans, Mo Zhao brutally kicks the begging debtor to death without showing a single shred of remorse. Furious that the shadow assassin vanished without a trace, he turns his violent rage onto his own bowing bodyguard, knocking him flat onto the cold hard ground with an explosive, ruthless punch directly to the face. Seizing the perfect chaotic moment, Tian summons his sharp primordial blade and activates his shadow stealth ability to strike from behind. Mo Zhao turns around at the last microsecond as fear flashes across his pale face. But Tian's lethal sword strike slices cleanly through his flesh, sending fresh red blood spraying violently high into the air. Mo Zhao's lifeless body hits the cold floor as terrified guards scatter like chaotic chickens. Only the main bodyguard stands his ground in disbelief. Suddenly, a mysterious foot wearing dark leather boots slowly emerges from the gloomy shadows, revealing the Tian walking forward calmly while spreading his double primordial blades extremely wide. The nervous guard yells loudly, insisting Tian is merely a low-tier nobody and demanding to know how he got shadow talents. Tian completely ignores the foolish shouting. Moving at lightning speed, Tian leaps directly into the air and slashes down with high precision, instantly slicing right through the helpless guard's exposed throat. After finishing off the bodyguard, Tian calmly pulls out a clean handkerchief marked with the shadow assassin symbol to wipe fresh blood off his twin blades. He tosses the cloth onto the corpses, warning cold corpses that they messed with the wrong guy, successfully framing the mysterious Shadow Guild for this absolute massacre tonight. Tian turns around and vanishes into the dark night, leaving 0 physical clues behind. An hour later, Mo Zhao's enraged father arrives at the bloody scene with armed men, roaring in absolute fury over his dead prodigy son. They carefully search the messy floor, discovering the mysterious shadow handkerchief resting near the bodies. The grieving father picks up the bloody cloth, realizing a dark hitman was involved. Suddenly, the grand elder of the Mo family steps into the room, bringing terrifying spiritual pressure. Overwhelmed by deep grief, the father falls onto his knees, weeping uncontrollably about his dead son who just broke through to Grand Warrior level. The Grand Elder calmly urges the crying father to stand up and speak like a true man. He agrees that the young prodigy possessed immense combat potential, acknowledging that this sudden tragic loss permanently alters their noble family's glorious future. The father hands over the bloody handkerchief, desperately begging his ancestor for total revenge. The powerful Grand Elder receives the stained cloth, instantly recognizing the shadow assassin symbol. Suspecting rival base families hired the killer to eliminate their bright young talents. He holds the handkerchief up high toward the bright sunlight to examine the fine fabric closely, searching for any hidden spiritual clues embedded inside. The old master narrows his eyes in utter surprise upon detecting secret traces of the iron fang base on the cloth. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the academy, where Tion listens to his chubby friend Jangbao chat endlessly about rival base conspiracies, secretly holding back a wicked grin because nobody suspects his involvement. Tion reflects silently on his clever frame job, amazed that planting the dead assassin's cloth caused such massive political chaos between rival bases. Realizing he must rapidly grow stronger to protect his family from coming wars, he resolves to push his physical limits further and master his newly acquired talents through extreme training. At 4 a.m, Tion wakes up early inside his quiet bedroom as bright sunshine slowly breaks through dark clouds. He packs his essential combat gear and gets completely ready to head out for intense wilderness training, determined to reach the elite martial warrior rank before his rival family makes another move. Just as Tion prepares to quietly step out the front door, his worried sister Yayu catches him leaving so early. She frowns upsetly that he is departing again after just returning home. Before he can explain, she suddenly sprints forward and tightly hugs her big brother from behind, making him gently promise a quick return. Tion gently pats her head, promising a quick return before stepping out into the cold morning air. Leaving the city behind, he travels rapidly across long highways. After a long, exhausting journey, Tion safely arrives at the dangerous wild zone where massive monsters roam freely, sticking carefully to the outer perimeter to hunt lower-tier beasts. Tion grins with intense determination, vowing to break through his limits today no matter what dangerous obstacles stand in his way. Suddenly, the quiet ground shakes violently under his boots, sparking momentary panic as he wonders if an earthquake hit. He quickly turns around, searching the dense trees for the giant hidden source. A massive armored ox emerges, causing a holographic status window to pop up showing weak bloodline and low defense talents. Tion analyzes the stats calmly, wondering if the beast spotted him. The answer comes instantly as the gigantic ox roars loudly, charging straight toward him like a runaway freight train through the trees. Tion drops his heavy bag onto the dirt and leaps high into the air, summoning twin primordial daggers to strike the massive beast head-on. Just before his sharp blades land, the giant armored ox instantly activates its magical defense talent, generating an impenetrable glowing energy shield around its body that completely blocks Tion's aggressive airborne attack. The beast roars, triggering a violent shockwave that blasts Tion backward and slams him hard against a nearby rock. Tion shakes off the dust and stands up with a wicked grin, admiring the creature's impressive defense mechanism. Unbothered by the heavy hit, he readies his daggers, eager to defeat the beast and claim its talent for himself.